feedback on that.
The HRS vent anchor has begun. Here we are reinforcing the BCB discharge and charge states. We are powering on the pyro firing cards.
Flight, we're about 14 minutes from entry interface. The vehicle is currently preparing the heat rejection system that has kept the thermal system cool inside the aeroshell for about the last 6 months. This will allow the spacecraft to more easily cut the lines in upcoming cruise stage separation, which is under 4 minutes now.
We have now enabled the rover pyro bus. We are powering off the cruise stage devices.
The vehicle is preparing for the upcoming cruise stage separation in about 3 minutes, 15 seconds by powering off all the devices on the cruise stage in order that they can be safe once the cruise stage is jettisoned.
We are firing our first pyros to vent the HRS liquid and gas. The HRS vent anchor is complete. We will see the next anchor in approximately 3 minutes.
We are currently 12.5 minutes from entry interface. We are coming upon cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. We're about 1.5 minutes from cruise stage separation, about 11 minutes, 20 seconds from entry interface.
We are switching to the MFSK tones. Telemetry will have stopped.
Telecom is confirming that the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive real-time information until about 10 9-10 minutes from now once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter starts relaying information from Perseverance. We are under a minute from cruise stage separation, about 10.5 minutes from entry interface.
We are seeing the heartbeat tones.
We're continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation.
RCS priming.
Cruise stage sep.
We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft. In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
I have confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating cruise stage separation. We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun.
Spin down.
At this point, the spacecraft is trying to stop its spin
CBM.
from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masses that has kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We are about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
MRO reports carrier lock. The DTE from Radio Science from Green Bank reports carrier lock. You see the carrier on the downlink.
Flight level 1.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface. We're just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming it to Earth in near real time. There are a few expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
MRO reports the electro radio is powered on, ready to receive signals from the lander.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight Local 1
from entry interface. Around this time, a second spacecraft, MAVEN, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface. We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal. We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry. We are 1 minute from entry interface.
MRO MROs are in receive mode.
We have confirmation that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars.
Confirm UHF data flow.
About seconds from
M7W
entry interface.
on.
5.3 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 150 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Entry.
We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars. The spacecraft is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere of Mars to slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target.
Doppler indicates entry into the atmosphere.
Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule. Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
Bank 1 completed.
MRO has lost log.
Doppler indicate reversal, bank reversal.
We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its
Max
distance
10 Gs.
to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
MRO has lock again.
Doppler indicate reversal. Bank 2 complete.
We saw a small outage of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak heating phase, likely caused by the plasma blackout. Perseverance is still continuing to perform bank reversals in the atmosphere to control its distance to the landing target.
Doppler indicate reversal.
End of range control, range minus 1.9 kilometers, cross range minus 2.4 kilometers.
Perseverance is going about 1 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, but to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target. Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
MRO is reporting good telemetry log.
We are coming upon the
Buffer start.
We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver,
UBMD jettison.
where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Doppler indicates chute deploy.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Heat shield set.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Nav filter converge. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
LVS valid.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Priming. TBA is nominal.
We have priming of the landing engines.
Back shell set.
Velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN Safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars.
SDS level.
Constant velocity
104.
accordion. Constant velocity accordion, altitude air.
We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct-to-Earth tones.
Throttle down.
Sky crane maneuver has started. About 20 meters.
Tango
off the surface.
Delta. Nominal.
We're getting signals from MRO.
Remuse stable.
UHF is good.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the signs of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance. Perseverance is continuing to transmit direct through Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Earth.
MRO reports they're still getting telemetry from the lander.
All right, all stations. Touchdown confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
OL3, OL1, you have what you need?
Flight 3, I have what I need. Flight, we have seen the completion of EDL 3000.
Copy.
Copy activity. That is as expected.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
Flight, this is OL3. I am ready to share.
OL3, you are go. For those on M,
All stations stand by for the images. Yes!
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready.
We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
OL flight.
TRN, TRN.
Can we get the cliff image, OL?
Activity, this is OL. Can you repeat that request on M20 EDL off?
OL, can we get the other image to show the cliff?
I'm sorry, say what image again? I'm not understanding.
Flight, OL3.
Go OL3.
You can see we've landed about 35 meters from the nearest rocks that we could identify from orbit by their shadows.
Copy OL3. I'm sure that you have seen them all and you recognize them all. So,
Flight reports Electra still in lock with the lander.
Flight, we have seen the transition to surface. EDL is done.
Woo! Woo-hoo! Transition to surface. All stations
Thank
are...
you, MRO.
congratulations, per team, and the whole team that's not here as well. Excellent job.
All stations on M20 EDL ops, we have transitioned to surface as reported downstairs. If you're part of that story to the surface team, make sure you're starting to work those inputs, please.
OL1, this is AL2, voice check.
I read you 5 by.
I just want to announce to everybody I've taken a first pass at the surface transition report. I've got some numbers from the script, and I'm awaiting inputs from a couple people still, and confirmation from others. It's ready for review.
Copy. The end of that was it's ready for review. Are you asking people to take a look at your CASHA report?
That's right. It's ready for review. I'm looking for confirmation from a handful of folks on some of the values before making it final.
Copy. Do you want that confirmation over this net?
The process is to work it over email. I've sent out an email that they can reply to.
Thank you. TAP and TAD1, OL1, can we go ahead and get handoff ready to go for our final Monte Carlo for today?
This is TAD1. We're already working on it.
Copy. Can you tell me what OD that's on?
The latest one I have is 137. I'll go jump into the nav room and confirm that's the last one.
Copy.
Oh, well, this is TAP 1. We're ready to run that Monte Carlo when the handoff is ready.
Copy. Thanks, TAP1.
TAD1, this is TAD2.
Go TAD2. Oh, sorry.
TAD1, this is TAD2.
Flight Ace. Go Ace.
TAD and TAD.
Just wanted to get permission to release the tracking stations and the NOPEs and everybody.
TAD2, TAD1 is currently talking to nav. Stand by. Frickin' Medley, too.
OL1, this is TAD1.
Go TAD1.
I confirmed that OD 137 is the final DOD with all of the two-way data up until 20 gone.
Copy. Thank you.
TAD1, TAD2.
Sorry, TAD2, were you calling TAD1?
Indeed, I was wondering if you wanted to cancel that last Monte Carlo before we start this one, or if I should get HBC on it so you can focus on the handoff.
How far along is it?
$5,700 cases.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kill it.
Thank you, TAD1.
What was that for? Hey, Lynn.
Okay, all stations. Everyone. Everyone. All right, all stations. Congratulations, but believe it or not, we have a job to do now.
OL1, TAD 1.
Go TAD 1.
Are we ready to look at the handoff?
Surface flight, this is flight.
Yes, please.
Should I go ahead and just share it in the WebEx that we're working now?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, flight.
TAD
Just
1,
want to
do we have
confirm
your
that
eyes?
your team is ready to receive Perseverance.
I am paying attention.
Copy.
We are ready to receive Perseverance.
Okay,
Are you ready for the briefing?
the new one is on the left.
Not yet.
The
Gotta take
121
a little
is on
bit.
the right.
We'll let the team here have, not yet, we'll
Sorry, this is
let
going
the
to be
team
hard with
here
the
have
VOCA.
a few minutes with the telemetry, and then we'll do our briefing. Remember to put the details in capture for your counterpart on the
so
surface
OD
team.
137 spread.
And then we will do an over VOCA report.
And I don't think anything else actually changes
Flight, this
in
is
this.
Surface FD. Are you staying on Mars 20 ops or
other
switching
than,
to Mars 20 surface
hang on,
ops?
before I scroll too far down, I want to confirm.
We are going to remain on
we
M20
have
off
the OD
VOCA
112 EPU3.
Copy.
The only other relevant change here is going to be the OD 137 spread ESF. And we don't have any other relay orbiter changes, correct?
None that I care for us to incorporate. I don't think so. TAD 1, your screen resolution, I can't actually read stuff very well, but you're saying it out loud, so I'm just trusting that what you're saying is what's there, just so you know.
Copy.
But I think what you described makes sense to me.
And we have no orbiter file deliveries from Monte Carlo this morning.
Thanks for confirming, TAP 1.
Flight activity FNAF for 2.
Copy.
There's no other
Flight
version
nav.
changes.
Go nav.
No other notes. So
nav is going to go off net.
that's it.
Great success
Should
on
we
the
add a note that
surface
just says
mission,
final,
That's great. Thank you.
final OD from
Nav, you don't want to
pre-entry?
continue?
Yeah, that's a good
Nothing for
idea.
you to do?
Thank you. TAP,
On
are
to
you
the
good
next-
with handoff?
Nav, we want
am
to
good.
extend tremendous
Thank you very much.
gratitude for your efforts to you and your team and for giving us a great trajectory here.
You're welcome. Nav
EDL
on net.
OL1 or 3, this is EDL phase on EDL ops.
Phase, this is OL1.
Can I get a copy of those pictures sent to me, where the map is, or where we came down, where we targeted, both in hazard map and not hazard map mode?
OL3 gave me a thumbs up. You should have those shortly.
Flight, uplink off net for 2.
Copy, uplink. Okay, all stations, let's begin our surface handover so we can continue our celebration. Systems, are you ready? Systems flight.
TAP 1, this is TAD 1.
Can't hear you, system.
Flight system voice check.
Got you, 5x5.
Copy. Should I give a report this time?
TAP 1, this is TAD 1.
All right. We see in EHA that the spacecraft mode is surface nominal. We also saw that transition in EVR space. And the surface nominal transition table ran as expected. CBM is in normal mode, which is to be expected. It is no longer in disable windows mode. We see that
Confirm you're ready for delivery.
0001 sequence has started. And I do not have recent EHA updates for the rest of the system, but I'm continuing to document what I'm seeing in EVR space for surface systems.
Copy, sys. FP.
And waiting on telemetry updates for some of our channels, but based on the EVRs, it looks like the transition to nominal was as expected, and I don't see any indications, at least from what we have so far, that any FP has tripped.
So the warnings that we do have there for UV are expected?
Copy, flight. AL can confirm, but if you're referring to the ones where the UV trip mask bit on the RPMs change, those are expected when we unmask under voltage when we transition to surface mode.
Copy. And so the indication of the tone that we got during descent is likely have cleared, or it's likely on the DPAM.
Correct, flight. I don't see any indications from the EVRs that indicates that we re-tripped some RPM-related monitors. And we'll have to look at the recorded EVRs when we get them down to see what exactly happened. But it looks like, at least what we have so far, that whatever it was has since cleared.
Copy, FP. Go to power.
Flight power. I was still trying to get through some of my telemetry checks, but what I've got so far is that the bus voltage at the end of the surface transition was about 32.32 volts, which means a battery state of charge of about 95%. That's a very rough estimate. I haven't had time to do a more detailed calculation. But the charge and discharge FETs have been enforced back to auto mode. Our pyro safety status is reading 268 ohms, which is armed and disabled. Pyro CRCs are still enabled from the end of EDL, and the RPFA is powered off.
Copy. Avionics? Avionics flight, voice check. All right, let's move on to telecom. We'll get back to you, avionics.
Yeah, flight telecom by design had got very, very little telemetry during EDL itself and on the surface once we landed. However, judging by the performance, we can say that telecom is healthy. Certainly the descent stage radio and amplifier did its job spectacularly. The electrolyte A worked spectacularly. We did do the final switch to the rough antenna on the rover. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to talk to MRO after landing. So we know where the switch has connected Electra A to the rough, ready for the first relay pass, which will be Odyssey in a couple of hours. Other than that, telecom is healthy and ready to go for surface operations.
Copy. Thermal?
Thermal is nominal and as expected. We have limited data, which again is expected. We saw a 50-degree increase on the RTG after the HRS vent, which is in line with both what we expected and what we saw on MSL. That filtered in. We've seen some small increases on ramp and associated HRS electronics as expected. Everything everything is nominal right now.
Copy. Flight software.
Flight, this is flight software. Flight software performed and is performing excellently. Health monitoring has been restored on the transitioner surface. We show Earth in control. Everything looks green.
Copy. ACS. How's your subsystem doing on the surface?
It's doing great. ACS gave a great pep talk to the nav filter, giving it a good attitude for EDL. Telemetry looked great just before it was idled, and presumably ACS is now sitting in a new crater on Mars.
Copy. And prop, how much fuel did you leave?
The cruise stage burnt up with 55.91 kilograms of propellant, and the descent stage consumed 305 kilograms out of the 401 load. So we flew away with about 96 kilograms of propellant. But otherwise, propulsion performed nominally. We did see successful boot of the DMCA into MCSW mode as expected. We then did see successful activation of the 8 TVAs, and they were nominal. Closed-loop flyaway was then commanded nominally, and the warning EVRs after closed-loop flyaway are expected.
Copy. DMX?
Flight data management is nominal. We've had limited telemetry and EVRs, but based upon the data we have, DMX is a nominal expected state. We did see several partial data products, but those are expected as part of EDL. All of the data has been captured in Cacher for the surface operations team, so we're ready to hand over to the service team.
Copy. GNC?
Right, this is GNC. Though almost all of CEDL, GNC is on different places on Mars. One of the most important pieces is still on the rover. The VCE is healthy throughout all of EDL, performed its job admirably, and has the data from entry, descent, and landing. So is go for Sol 1 activities to retrieve that data.
Copy GNC. And ACE?
Flight ACE, all of our systems worked as expected. We have disconnected from the command system, and we have all 4 stations standing by for us to release them.
Copy. So at this point, the release, I'll leave to surface flight and surface ACE. Are you going to be surface ACE or?
That's perfect. The base stations won't be around when we're using them the next time.
Understood. They're probably done for the day, but I don't want to presume anything. I'll leave that up to surface flight to figure out.
Copy that.
Okay. And I left the last here, activity lead. Is it activity lead 1 or 2?
Activity lead 2.
All right, activity lead 2.
Flight, this is activity lead 2. I can confirm that EDL was nominal, as we know. I've filled out the cacher report with all the key details about the landed lat-long position, the estimated touchdown velocities. We've got a estimated rover attitude in 3 dimensions from RIMU real-time data products in there, and everything is nominal. The one piece we're still missing is the MRO loss of signal time, but I'll be adding that to the report as soon as possible. And we cannot assess the state of the EDL cameras. We didn't get an EHA update since prior to entry, but otherwise, all is well.
Copy activity. Avionics.
Flight avionics, can you copy?
I got you.
Avionics is nominal. RC Alpha is prime. RC Bravo is powered off. From the pre-EDL EHA, the primeness is as expected. We don't have any additional telemetry, at least I don't, indicating whether we swapped PAMs or not. But the RC spans and buses are healthy. The all